Well, hello. I hope you had a blessed Friday. Still with my video tutorial, with my tutorial videos, with my video lectures. We already talked about the importance of the body paragraphs and how to develop the body paragraphs of the essay. We have seen how important this section of essay writing. We have seen how it is linked directly to your thesis statement, to your introductory paragraph. So now we gonna talk about the concluding paragraph, how to write an essay conclusion. All right. Just to review the format of the essay. All right. Your essay take this always take this structure or this shape. So in which there is an introductory paragraph where you outline what ideas you're gonna discuss, what is the main point of your essay, and what ideas you're gonna discuss. Then, after grasping the reader's interest, now you move to developing these main ideas into body paragraphs with main points, supporting details, and supporting points. And then you come up with, after developing the body paragraphs, now you come up with you reach the conclusion of your essay, where you summarize, you provide a summary of the main points discussed earlier. So the conclusion of the essay always brings a closure to your essay and wraps the main idea of your thesis statement. It always informs, the conclusion always informs that the essay has come, that the writing of the essay has come to an end, right? So we write our conclusion in order to inform about the essay's completion, and also it is where we should restate our thesis statement and we summarize the main points discussed and analyzed in the body paragraphs. So the conclusion of the essay is the closing paragraph. It is just as important as the first paragraph or the introductory paragraph. Remember, all sections of essay writing are important. So let's say in your introductory paragraph, you have grasped the reader's interest. In the better paragraphs, you have convinced the reader of the supporting ideas and supporting details that you have used in order to expand the thesis statement or make your main idea grow in this section. Now, the concluding paragraph should leave a strong impression in the reader's mind. Why? Because you need assessment, you need evaluation, all right, of your essay, of what you have written by your either by your teacher, if you were given an assignment, or by your reader. So the impression of the reader, all right, the impression of your teacher or your tutor is to give you a good grade. So try to convince him in the concluding paragraph that my essay, that all what I have discussed, all what I have written deserves a good grade. In case it is for your audience, for your readers, so you try to convince them that your essay, has left a strong impression in your minds. Remember, We have already said that in essay writing, the purpose of essay writing is that you try to convince the reader of your main point of view. So where to make him convinced? In the conclusion, with the impression that your essay has left after writing of your essay. Okay. As I've already said, it is very important. It is very important, the concluding paragraph, because it is the final part in which you are supposed to restate your thesis statement and also summarize the main points of your essay. So if you have succeeded with writing a strong introductory paragraph, and then you succeeded with providing strong evidences that expanded your thesis statement and made your body essay grow, you should never face any difficulty in writing your concluding paragraph, because you already know what you have written about. You already keep in mind your main idea, all right, or your thesis. So the conclusion corresponds directly to your introductory paragraph. In fact, that in the introductory paragraph you have cited or you have indicated what's the main idea, your thesis statement. In the concluding paragraph, the conclusion should correspond in the fact that you're going to summarize the main points discussed in the body paragraphs, and you're going to restate your thesis statement again. Restating the thesis statement doesn't mean rewriting it again. No, restate, you write it, but in other words. Okay. So the function of the conclusion paragraph is to inform about the fact that your essay is coming to an end. So the function is to round off the essay appropriately. So you have to pay attention, all right? So you have to pay attention when you restate your thesis statement and you summarize the main points discussed in both the body paragraphs and the introduction. There should be correspondence. There should be this kind of strong liaison between the three parts of your essay: introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. Since the concluding paragraph is conclusive, you should present your thesis so that you should present your thesis in its conclusive and most compelling form. You should never, all right, you should never make your concluding paragraph, so restating the thesis and summarizing the main points discussed in both the body paragraphs and the introductory paragraph, doesn't mean that you are going to broaden your concluding paragraph. Don't make it of a big size. Don't make the writing of a big size. All right. No, just restatement of the thesis statement, as I said, in other words, and summary of the main point. All right. Remember that you have to develop a strong concluding paragraph so that it leaves an everlasting impression on the reader's mind. All right. So you see here an example. In conclusion, then, I would argue that unless all the countries of the world, great and small, developed or developing, powerful and not so powerful, make some sacrifices for the sake of the future of the planet, The resources we have taken for granted up until now will run out. The most powerful nations of the world, the members of the G8, must lead the way, otherwise disaster on an unimaginable scale might issue. The time for empty rhetoric is past. The time for action has arrived. Time has run out for the procrastinators and the selfish. It is the human race itself that faces extinction. A very strong concluding paragraph, as we see here, as we see here, it's a very strong concluding paragraph in which all the items were respected. Restatement of the thesis, the main idea of the essay, then summary of the main ideas discussed in the body paragraphs, and then the last sentence, all right, the last sentence in the top in the concluding paragraph, which has a role of leaving a strong impression on the reader's mind. All right. Of course, you need to conclude, all right, to introduce or to inform in writing your essay, to inform about the fact that your essay is coming to a conclusion. You need to use phrases and necessary words informing about that your essay is coming to an end. All right. Okay. As I already said, it is the final sentence. It is the final sentence which has the role of, let's say, convincing the reader of what you have written. So you should write it in a way that it leaves a strong impression on the reader's mind. So in the previous essay conclusion, the sentence, it is the human race itself that faces extinction, really performs this function or this role. All right. So, generally speaking, writing a conclusion of the essay is to serve a number of significant functions, which are as follows. So what is the role of, all right, what is the role of the concluding paragraph? In addition to completing, informing about essay's completion, the concluding paragraph serves other functions, all right? Presenting a brief summary of the essay. Here in the conclusion, this conclusion provides a summary of the growing popularity of FM radio programs. All right. This essay discussed the reasons of the growing popularity of FM radio programs. Means why people prefer listening to radio programs rather than watching TV shows. All right. So, given the reasons, then in sum, all right, the conclusion summarizes the growing popularity of FM radio programs. Good. It can provide a question, all right? It can provide a question for future debate, all right? The conclusion above of the essay, the main idea discussed, the dangers of modern chemical, biological, and radiological warfare. So, The body paragraphs, let's say, discuss the dangers of modern chemical, biological, and radiological warfare. And then the future question is, if any nation holding these dangerous modern weapons, in order to be powerful, should this nation use these dangerous weapons in order to be powerful, in order to get more strength? Okay. It can present also, it can present a suggestion. All right. So the present conclusion in the essay, all right, provided, let's say, the following suggestion, which is the awareness of consumers, the awareness and the awareness of consumers and their needs should put more pressure on the governmental agencies, so that they should revise the prices. All right. It can provide a solution to the problem, like in the following example. All right. What will help to solve the complicated and disturbing problem is a greater public awareness of the role of hospital as a community institution, and a willingness on the part of the public to become involved in the management of its community affairs. Such a force of informed public opinion can right more wrongs than any laws devised. So here the essay expressed or analyzed or explained the problem of US doctors being barred from hospitals. So the solution to the problem is, according to the writer of the essay, to solve this problem is public awareness, public awareness. All right. Lastly, it can call the reader to take action. It can call the reader to take action, as in the conclusion, the conclusion example in front of us. So the conclusion above ends the essay by explaining the problem of AIDS in Africa and how should the US aid be effective to solve the problem. All right. So I just would like to remind, all right, just to remind you, conclusions, essay conclusions should stress the importance of the thesis statement, all right? The link between conclusion and the introduction is the restatement of the thesis restatement of the thesis, meaning the essay discussed is gonna introduces is gonna the introduction introduces the following main idea, and the conclusion restated the same main idea discussed, introduced by the introductory paragraph in the introductory paragraph, and discussed and analyzed broadly in the body paragraphs. They should give the essay a sense of completion, and they should leave a final impression on the reader's mind. All right. As far as the format of writing a conclusion of the essay, it should be divided into 4 sections. All right. Section number 1, it is left for restating the thesis statement. Don't copy, but just restate. Rewrite in other words. Then the second section. The second section, it is where you should summarize the main ideas or the main points discussed in your body paragraphs. Then the third section, transitional sentences to connect to your final power thoughts. And then the last section, it is your final word. Your final word which indicates your powerful thoughts. All right? So these are, let's review this, the format in the following example. So this conclusion example started with restatement of the thesis statement of the thesis. The tape used to divide the classroom had symbolic meaning in freedom writers because its physical characteristics shared a connection with the characters in the movie. Then the second section, as we see, there is not restatement, but summary of the main points of our body paragraphs. So we have sentence number 1, then we have sentence number 2, then we have sentence number 3, which means we had 3 main ideas discussed earlier and analyzed in our body paragraphs. Then a transitional sentence acting like a liaison between the summary of the main points and what will you introduce in the last sentence, leaving the great impression on your reader's mind. All right? Transitional sentence, however different the characters were, the features of this object linked these dynamic characters and experiences. And then our last word, conclude with the final, we conclude our conclusion with the last sentence that represents our powerful thought. This type of symbolic meaning in objects can be found in anything, and like the line of tape or even a box of chocolates, it can hold a deeper significance than what can be seen. All right? So we have, so as you see here, that's the conclusion, all right, presented here. And you see all the, let's say, all the sections representing the format of the essay conclusion has been respected, all right? Number 1 is restatement of the thesis statement, of the main idea or the main thesis. Number 2, summary of the main ideas. Number 3, transitional sentence to our final word, and then our final word indicating or representing our powerful thoughts. All right. What you should avoid in your in writing your essay conclusion: the following: introducing new ideas. In the conclusion of your essay, do not introduce new ideas. It is where you just restate your thesis. You provide a summary of the main points. You provide transitional sentence, and then the last sentence where to leave a great impression on your reader's mind. Never rely on overused phrases like in conclusion, in summary, in closing. All right. Try to use words and phrases, powerful words and phrases that really indicate that your essay is coming to an end. Stating the thesis for the first time, this is one of the mistakes that students make, or EFL learners, novice writers do. All right, they don't state their thesis in the introduction and then they restate it in the conclusion. All right, for your reader, a conclusion with a new thesis statement stated for the first stated recently means that you're gonna start discussing this. You're gonna start discussing the thesis statement. No, the thesis statement must be indicated in the introductory paragraph, in the conclusion, you just need to rewrite it in other words. Ending your essay conclusion with a restatement of the thesis. This is another mistake that students make, novice writers and students and learners make. You should never end. I said your last sentence is left for you. You end up your conclusion of the essay with the last word, with the last sentence that really represents the greater, the powerful thought, the greater thought, the greater thought that really indicates, that really helps your reader to be convinced of your main point or your point of view. All right? Never make sentimental or emotional appeals, and never use matter-of-fact statements. Like, as a matter of fact, obviously, it is commonly believed, it is commonly held as a truth, and so on. That's all for today. I'll be very pleased to receive your questions, your comments, your problems, your inquiries, and in my email. Thank you for your attendance and thank you for watching the video.